All right, guys, I'm going to go over some intro stuff that goes along with the first lab that you're going to do for our digestive system unit. I'm going to go over the anatomy using this model here. Then what's going to happen in class is you're going to have some time during lab to find and identify these parts on your own model. And you're going to answer some questions on Schoology and watch a couple videos that aren't of me as well. So what I'm going to do on the model first is just go through the anatomy that you will be finding in the models and the stuff that will be talked about as you go. All right, so first we're going to start at the superior region of the body. So we're going to start up here in the head. I think this stuff is pretty simple for you guys, very familiar with from a very young age in health classes. This is your mouth. This is your mouth. Okay, you have teeth. Inside your mouth, you have a tongue. I don't think that is new to anybody at all. All right, when you swallow food, that food is going to travel down your esophagus. If I move here, it's going to travel down your esophagus, which you can see is right behind the trachea. And that's important because when we go to do our pig dissection for the GI system, you will be finding the trachea, and then you'll be finding the esophagus behind the trachea. So the esophagus is back here. It's like a red kind of portion, and it's ribbed, all right, to show you that it's muscle. To find what's next, we actually will be removing the lungs, all right? The next thing you find is you can continue to follow the esophagus, which is here. I'm gonna bring it a little bit closer to you guys. Ooh, terrible noise. You can see the esophagus, which is right here, continues down again behind your trachea. Here's where your trachea branches off to your left and right lung. This is the esophagus behind the trachea, all right? Going to move the liver. This is your liver. All right, your liver is one of the largest organs when it comes to your digestive system. Your liver sits at the very top, just under your diaphragm. Okay, just under your diaphragm, right here. When we do our dissection, you'll actually be cutting the diaphragm, so you can look at what's in the thoracic cavity versus the abdominal pelvic cavity. If I remove the liver, some important parts of that underneath is your gall bladder, which is right here. They're kind of hard to find in the pig, but you can separate them. Your gall bladder itself has a duct that meets the ducts that come from the liver. So this right here is the cystic duct, comes from the gallbladder, okay? These two right here, you can see them, they're going up to the liver. Those are your left and your right hepatic duct. And then they meet together as your common bile duct, which ends up emptying into your pancreas, which we'll take a look at in a moment. All right, so liver and gallbladder attached. You'll actually be pulling your liver off when you do your dissection. The esophagus then will empty into the stomach, as you can see here. Here's the top of the esophagus. You have a lower esophageal sphincter, which is here, and then you have an upper esophageal sphincter, which is up at the top of the esophagus when you initially swallow. So it's going to move through the stomach. The stomach has several parts to it. Okay, so the very top part where the esophagus enters is the cardia. This kind of curvy part here is the fundus. The large portion right here is the body. And the portion where it empties into the duodenum is the pyloric region. The sphincter that allows it to empty, and you can see it here, a circular muscle. We talked about that in the muscular system. That is your pyloric sphincter. Okay, it's gonna move from your pyloric sphincter into your duodenum, which they show right here, your duodenum, which is part of your small intestine, all right? Here you can also see the pancreas. You can see it here, you can see it here, okay? Here you can see the end of that common bile duct, okay? The end of that common bile duct, which does empty into the duodenum. The pancreatic duct, which is right here. This is the pancreas. The pancreatic duct also empties into the duodenum, okay? So pancreatic duct, common bile duct, they actually meet at the hepatopancreatic sphincter, and they empty, sometimes called the sphincter of Oddi, and they empty into the duodenum, which is here, okay? After it goes into the duodenum, it moves through the duodenum, it moves through the jejunum, it gets to the ileum, which is the end of the small intestine, and from the ileum, which is up under here, it empties into the large intestine, okay, which we refer to as your colon. So your large intestine is this kind of purpley part. You can see goes all the way around and out. All right. This is fat. It's showing how you have adipose tissue that covers up. You can see here is the appendix. The appendix in your pig, when you dissect them, is quite large for some of them. Some of them are very full. All right. So here's the appendix, which is right at the beginning part of the large intestine where the small intestine empties into the large intestine. This region of the colon is called the cecum, okay? Then from the cecum, you go up the large intestine or the colon, which is called the ascending colon. And then the portion of the colon that goes across the top, that's the transverse colon right here. The portion that comes down is your descending colon. Notice how logical these names are, okay? The turn at the bottom is your sigmoid colon, which then empties into your rectum, which is how we take care of excretion of waste, all right? The only other organ, or there's a couple other organs you're gonna find when you do your dissection. You will find your kidneys, which you can see them in the model right here and right here. You will find your spleen, which you can't see in this model, but that's okay. It's not necessary for us to find right now. And you can also see, I think that's actually all you're gonna find. So that's the intro with all the anatomy for the GI system. You'll be watching this video, you'll watch another video, you'll do some labeling, you'll answer some questions on Schoology, and then you should have all of the anatomy covered up. So I hope that was helpful for you guys, and I'll see you guys later.